Every day we're closer to a crash, right? Every day we're closer. When is that going to happen? Nobody knows.
Hello, this is Mark Silverman, managing member and founder of Silverman & Associates, and I'm also a certified financial planner professional. I want to welcome you to the Saving with Silverman podcast. I'm glad you're here. Each week, we'll discuss different financial planning topics because making smarter choices about your money impacts the quality of your life.
Let's talk about manufactured anxiety. And by that, I mean people getting all upset and stressed out because, sometimes they don't necessarily need to. We know that the media adds a lot of drama to every possible story because their business model depends on creating as much fear and anxiety as possible. For each of these scenarios here I want to lay out, tell us if you believe that it's really a significant issue or if it's just fear-mongering by the media. Number one, let's say that you're listening to the news one night and you hear Social Security is going broke and they're going to have to cut off everybody's benefit. What would be your response to that?
Well, I certainly agree with you about the about the media. They're our probably biggest enemy right now. Social Security is not going broke. The government can and does print money. I mean, they're printing up a lot of money as we speak. So I don't think it's going. They're not going to cut everybody's benefit. What you will see is people who are a few years away from getting Social Security. They might up full retirement age. Right now, full retirement age is 67. Mm-hmm. Maybe they make it 68, 69, 70. People are living longer, so that makes sense. It's not going to go away. It's not going to go broke. If anybody's not going to go broke, it's the government because they can print money. The money might not be worth as much because we have hyperinflation, which we're starting to see. But, that's a different story. But, you want to make sure that you're making the best decisions you can with Social Security. A lot of people take it, I've seen, because they think they're going to go broke, and it's a horrible decision because they're losing out on benefits and paying taxes and having to pay it back if they take it too early, that sort of thing. So you need to be fully informed, and we can help with that certainly. But don't take Social Security because you think it's going to go broke.
And let me just say that a lot of people just say, Social Security is going to go away. It's not going to be there by the time I need it. And that's not true because, it may change. But that's not true because politicians want to get reelected. And that's
exactly
a sure way of not getting reelected.
And on the other hand of it, I find people that are relying on Social Security too much. Yeah. I mean, you've got to be putting money away for yourself. If you're relying on Social Security to be your primary source of income in retirement, you will not have a very good retirement, if any.
Yeah,
so
that's for sure. We're talking about manufactured anxiety here. Let's say, Mark, you hear that the national debt is out of control and tax rates are going to go through the roof at some point. How much truth is there to that?
The national debt is out of control and tax rates are going up, certainly, and we're seeing that. They've steadily increased, with these new bills that they're trying to pass. I think 2022 we're going to see a significant increase in taxes. Don't quote me on that, but I think that will happen. It's got to happen. And unfortunately, they can tax us as much as they want. It's not going to make a dent into this debt. This debt has got so out of hand. It's a big problem. So I don't know what they're going to do about it. But tax rates are going up. That's just a fact.
Yeah, pretty much has to. There's no way around it.
It has to. It's not going to pay itself off, for sure.
Climate change is a serious problem. And our economy needs to be completely overhauled in order to deal with it. What do you think of that?
No, our economy doesn't need to be overhauled. I mean, there's lots of countries that are doing things. There's countries that aren't doing things. It's a world problem if it is a world problem, if it is an issue, and we're not going to solve it alone. So the economy doesn't need to be overhauled. I mean, I think one of the big misnomers out there, and not to offend anybody, but if you look at Teslas, I was at an investment conference a couple years ago. A Tesla takes more greenhouse gases to charge it than a gas engine. So think about that. And then think about all the people in California buying Teslas. They're having power outages. If everybody owned a Tesla there, how would that work? Yeah. I mean, they have no clue.
I have a friend that just bought a Tesla, and I wouldn't want it, to be honest.
I mean, I think there might be a place for them at some point, but, if the power's out and you have to go home and charge your vehicle, how do you get around?
Yeah, exactly.
So, to force everybody to drive electric, I think is crazy. And so some people don't understand how it works.
Okay, got another one for you here. We've all gotten used to interest rates being really low for a long time, and when the Fed raises rates, the economy is going to absolutely grind to a halt.
Well, one, we do have very low interest rates, and we have for a very long time, which does hurt investors. It's great if you're buying a house and borrowing money, that sort of thing, or refinancing. But we also just talked a little bit about the national debt. And so if our interest rates were to increase substantially, that would affect our debt payments to China, whoever. So I don't see the government increasing rates that much for that simple reason. I think we're going to stay in a low interest rate environment. Again, don't quote me on that, but I think we're going to stay in a low interest rate environment for a long time.
Yeah.
And in fact, this low interest rate environment is what's driving the stock market right now. Because if you think about inflation, whether you use a 4 or 5% interest rate right now, or inflation rate, where do you go? You can't buy a bond, you can't buy a CD, you can't keep money markets. You are losing purchasing power. So with that being said, you've got to put it into equities. You've got to look for investment opportunities that are going to at least keep pace with inflation. And your only chance is stocks right now.
Okay, one more thing, and it involves stocks.
Okay.
And this is something that, people talk about a lot these days, and deservedly so. The stock market has been rolling up for way too long. There's got to be a crash coming soon, and when it does happen, it's going to be bad.
Every day we're closer to a crash, right? Every day we're closer. When is that going to happen? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
And you can't time the market. So if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting to get in, you've missed a lot of growth. So the idea is you want to be in the market in the right percentages. We want to have the right asset allocation is what I'm saying. And everybody's asset allocation is different. Everybody's, different age, different circumstance, different time frame. So everybody, you need to have a diversified portfolio. That's important. And you need to have a portfolio that when it does go down, not if, but when, that you stay invested in that market. If it goes down and you get out, the markets aren't going to work for you. And I've said this before, investments work, investors don't. So, and there's been a lot of studies done. If you look and see what the average stock mutual fund has done versus the average stock mutual fund investor, they've earned like half of what the actual mutual fund has done because people try to time the market. Mm-hmm. Luckily we don't have that issue with our clients because most people that are working with the right advisor, they'll talk them through this and not make sure that they don't try to do things to harm themselves by getting in and out at the wrong times. The key is to stay invested, but you've got to be in the right portfolio, so stay invested and making sure you're taking the right amount of risk for you and your family. So, yeah, market's going to go up and down. That's nothing new. Every day we're closer to the next correction. When is it? Who knows? But we don't know.
You've been listening to the Saving with Silverman podcast. If you have any questions at all about your financial situation, please give Mark Silverman a call. Again, his number is 520-333-7601, or go online to savingwithsilverman.com. For Mark Silverman, I'm Ron Stutz. We'll see you next time on the Saving with Silverman podcast.
The Saving with Silverman podcast is brought to you by Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, based in Tucson, Arizona. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and everywhere you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show on your favorite app today and never miss an episode. Just search for Saving with Silverman to find us, or visit savingwithsilverman.com to listen to past episodes, to contact Mark, and to learn more about how to make smarter decisions with your money.
Did you know that Mark Silverman also has a radio show? Tune in to Saving with Silverman Saturdays and Sundays at 3 p.m. on AM 790 KNST.
All matters discussed on this show are for informational purposes only. Opinions expressed are solely those of Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, and staff. All topics covered are believed to be from reliable sources. However, Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC makes no representation as to its accuracy or completeness. The show shall in no way be construed as a solicitation to sell securities or investment advisory services to residents of any state other than Arizona or where otherwise permitted. Topics should be discussed with your individual advisor prior to implementation. Fee-based financial planning and investment advisory services offered through Silverman & Associates Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Arizona. Insurance products and services are offered through Silverman & Associates, an affiliated company.